Welcome to Happy Brain Yoga, the podcast where we talk about living our best life through yoga and neuroscience. I'm Jace Praxis. I am your host. I am a 500-hour yoga teacher, and I have specialty yoga certifications in everything from yin to trauma-informed to yoga nidra. I'm glad that you can be with me on this yoga journey. Today is Monday. We're starting the week, and no matter what or how you're starting your week, we're going to start it strong. Today, we're focusing on the importance of sleep and recovery, the pursuit of nonviolence, and continuing our exploration of BKS Iyengar's light on yoga. Whatever you're doing right now, I want you to stop what you're doing. At times, this life is busy and hectic. We sometimes feel like we need to beg permission to even take the smallest of moments for ourselves. This is not optional. It is essential. And you do not need permission. If you feel like you still need permission to take a moment to do something healthy for yourself, I give you that permission. And if anyone tries to argue with you about that, then setting boundaries is a challenge you're not ready for yet. They can take it up with me. Before we begin, here's a quick and important note. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Yoga is a physical practice, and every body and every nervous system is different. Please consult with a qualified medical or healthcare professional before beginning any new movement, breathing, or wellness practice, especially if you have a medical condition, injury, or history of trauma. As always, you are responsible for listening to your body. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Yoga is about awareness, not pushing through pain. If you're able to, get into a comfortable position and let's breathe. I invite you to inhale through your nostrils for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 2, 1. Now exhale slowly for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See, nothing dramatic, nothing forced. That longer exhale matters. It nudges the nervous system towards safety by lowering sympathetic tone and easing norepinephrine release. Let's take one more round together. Inhale through your nostrils. 2, 1. Hold. 2, 1. Now exhale. Excellent. So, let's get on with the sciencey stuff. Now that you're a little more grounded, it's time to move into the neuroscience. Over the last decade, sleep research has radically changed how we understand what the brain is doing while we are asleep. One of the key discoveries is the Glymphatic system, a brain-wide clearance pathway that functions as a kind of pseudo-lymphatic system for neural tissue. Because the brain lacks a conventional lymphatic system, it relies on the controlled movement of cerebral spinal fluid, or CSF, to remove metabolic waste. During this process, CFF flows along perivascular spaces surrounding arteries. It cleans out a lot of gunk and exits along paravenous routes, carrying away soluble proteins and metabolic byproducts. These include substances like beta amyloid, which accumulate as a normal consequence of neural activity during wakefulness. What's critical is that this system is state-dependent. During deep non-REM sleep, especially slow-wave sleep, the brain undergoes a dramatic physical and chemical shift. Research shows that the interstitial space between brain cells expands by roughly 60%, which allows cerebrospinal fluid to circulate much more efficiently. This expansion substantially increases effective exchange between CSF and interstitial fluid, accelerating waste clearance. This mechanism was demonstrated directly in a landmark 2013 paper published in Science. You can see all citations in the notes for this program. During wakefulness, however, glymphatic activity is largely suppressed. And why is that? Because wakefulness is associated with elevated norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is a neuromodulator that maintains alertness, attention, and behavioral readiness. High norepinephrine tone keeps brain tissue more compact and prioritizes information processing and interaction with the environment, not maintenance or cleanup. And you know what sleep does? It flips that balance. Norepinephrine levels drop, interstitial space expands, the brain shifts from performance mode to maintenance mode. And I'm using a lot of medical jargon and scientific terms, so if you're a nascent researcher or you're just wanting to learn a little bit more, don't worry about it. You'll get there, and we'll help you get there. Those of us who practice yoga are a community. Those of us who are researchers and scientists, we're a community as well. We take care of each other. So I'm proud of you for sticking it out with me to learn words like cerebral spinal fluid, sympathetic tone, and norepinephrine. So you're going to get it. All of us had to start somewhere, and if you are a neuroscientist, please don't judge me too harshly because I'm a bit of a nascent neuroscientist. My background is in the social and behavioral sciences. I'm pretty good at political science. Some people have called me professor in the past in those circles. It's kind of fun. But what really matters is figuring stuff out together and learning that shared vocabulary so we can work more efficiently and effectively at having that conversation. So even if it might sound a little daunting, the more you listen, the more you're going to learn, and the more that you can help contribute to this dialogue. You're a nascent scholar, and I welcome you into both the yoga community and the scientific community. So let's talk about this. So sleep, it flips the balance between how compact and how expansive those spaces are, those interstitial spaces. So when you're asleep, neuroepinephrine levels drop, the interstitial space expands, and the brain shifts from performance mode to maintenance mode. So one of sleep's core biological functions is not rest in the psychological sense, it's infrastructure repair. This is also why sleep deprivation so reliably impairs attention, working memory, emotional regulation, and decision-making. It's not a motivation problem, it's not a discipline problem. It's a brain trying to function while being metabolically burdened. Skipping sleep isn't toughness, it's biological self-harm. And from a yogic perspective, that brings us directly to Ahimsa. Because neurologically speaking, non-violence begins the night before. And what's Ahimsa? I'm glad that you asked. Before we begin to go further, I'd like to give you a quick note. I tend to prioritize Sanskrit to give us a shared vocabulary. It's how, when you go anywhere, everyone does ballet in French. We do yoga in Sanskrit. This acknowledges the time and place where these concepts developed. We're culturally appreciating and not culturally appropriating. For those who are yoga teachers that would like to refine their knowledge, or those who are newer to yoga, I will give a broader explanation. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, we have what he called the 8 limbs of yoga. BKS Iyengar called them the 8 petals of yoga. Think of it like a wheel with spokes that are sticking out. We have 8 of these spokes. These are the components of what yoga practice is. This is the method for which we can start to work to unify our mind and body. Out of these, we have the yamas, that's a social contract. The niyamas, that's a way to understand ourselves. The asanas, those are the postures. Pranayama, that's the breath work. Pratyahara, that is when drawing inward, withdrawing into yourself. Dharana, which is clearing your mind. Dhyana, which is meditation. And Samadhi, which is surrender. And much like the scientific jargon, Sanskrit can at once feel oppressive, but at the same time, it allows us to take a moment to think about what the deeper essence and elements of these particular pursuits are. And as we are looking at Iyengar and following every pose from beginning to end of Light on Yoga, every single episode of Happy Brain Yoga, we're just going to go through the 8 limbs of yoga and focus on one aspect of them. For the yamas and niyamas, we have 5 yamas and 5 niyamas, so we're going to explore each of the yamas and each of the niyamas. The first of the yamas is Ahimsa, non-harming, non-violence. Ahimsa isn't about being gentle all the time. It's about not attacking yourself for being human, or other people, or the environment for that matter. It's diminishing harm. And one of the most common ways we harm ourselves in modern life is by stealing from sleep. It's not out of malice, but out of pressure, urgency, and habit. Ahimsa for sleep does not mean perfect routines, early bedtimes every night, or never scrolling at midnight again. It means noticing when self-criticism replaces self-care. If you slept poorly, the practice is not guilt. The practice is compassion plus curiosity. Consider this: how can I reduce harm tonight? That question alone is yogic. Here's your homework. I gave you some homework a little over a week ago to get out in the morning and get some sun and bring the dog. Your homework for this week is to shut off all screens 1 hour before bedtime. Turn off any light with a blue tint to it. If you have lights with a red tint to it, put those on. If you have an alarm clock, even put your phone in another room and prepare yourself for recuperation and refreshment. This is probably going to be challenging at first. You're going to feel that itch to grab for your phone, but that will pass. Do your best. Give yourself that hour before you want to go to sleep, just to let yourself wind down. And realize that you might pick up your phone. You might look at your last email of the day. Remember that healthy habits are never about perfection, they're about consistency. If you don't absolutely need your phone as an alarm clock, like I said, put it in another room. Climb into bed and pick up a paper book, a guitar, a crocheting kit. Do something kind for yourself that doesn't involve a screen. And if you feel that urge to grab your phone, to doom scroll, to continue an argument, or to see which one of your high school exes got balder and fatter than you, just pause and breathe gently. And remember, engaging in sleep and stress regulation makes you less likely to get balder and fatter over time. as excess cortisol slowly diminishes. And all joking aside, this is not about competition. It's about cooperation and compassion. You're great no matter what your size is or whatever distribution of hair you may or may not possess. And again, if anyone has a problem with that, they can take it up with your yoga teacher, me. If you're listening to this tired, you're not broken. If your brain feels foggy, that's not a character flaw. Your nervous system is responding exactly as it evolved to. Nothing here requires perfection, only participation. On this podcast, we cover science and yoga philosophy, and in every episode, we also break down a posture. There's a book that every yoga practitioner or every yoga teacher should own, and it's Light on Yoga by BKS Iyengar. Last week, we took on a couple of postures, and to continue, we're going to engage in Utthita Parshvottanasana, extended side angle pose. This is a posture of strength without collapse and reach without strain. Either listen and prepare the next time that you engage in asana practice, or if you're able to, join me. Come to standing. Step or jump, hop with your feet wide 3 to 3.5 feet. Turn your right foot out and your left slightly in. Bend your right knee until your thigh is parallel to the floor. And when you're doing this, just track your knee out in the direction of your toes. Not too far in, not too far out. And don't let your knee go at more than a 90-degree angle. Don't let your knee go in front of your ankle. It's perfectly fine to have your knee stacked directly on top or even slightly behind your ankle. And don't dump into the joint. Don't force depth. Give yourself a little personal ahimsa in this pose. Place your right forearm on your thigh or your hand on the floor or a block. You might have learned this posture with your hand on the inside of your leg. In the Iyengar method, our hand is on the outside of our leg. Whatever way you learn this is perfectly acceptable. Do whatever is more comfortable for you. So as you're doing this, remember to lengthen the left side of your body. Reach the top arm overhead like a long arc and feel that spine stretch. Don't compress it. Every time that you inhale, just feel and experience the crown of your head lengthening away from your tailbone. Keep your core engaged. Iyengar emphasizes that this pose stretches the entire back body, tones the legs, and aids digestion and elimination. Think of it as creating space so waste can move. This is not a metaphor, this is physiology. So as we stay here in this posture, just continue to grow and lengthen and feel calm, connected, and grounded. Stay for several more breaths. When you're ready, come back to standing. Just let your neck roll around side to side, shake out your shoulders, and engage in Utthita Parshvottanasana on the left side. You can pause the podcast and engage in this posture for 5 good solid breaths. What I like about Utthita Parshvottanasana is it teaches something subtle. You can be strong and supported. Effort does not require harm. Take this lesson of what your body your interoception is telling you throughout your week. Carry that lesson into your week. Start strong, not by pushing harder, but by protecting the systems that keep you alive and clear-headed. As we return to this moment, as we come to the closing of today's session, today's practice was not about doing more. It was about doing less damage, gently, intelligently, compassionately. For that is the core of Ahimsa. That is neuroscience. That is yoga. Let's return to breathing. Inhale through your nostrils and hold for 4. Exhale through your nostrils for 6. Hold for 4. Inhale through your nostrils for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale through your nostrils for 6. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, slowly open them. Come back to this world. I always used to say, come back to this world and go forth and do good things. But as yoga exists both on and off the mat, I've changed that. It's now ga as in yoga, ga forth and do good things. Thank you for exploring yoga with me today. And if you'd like more individualized attention or practice, reach out. I'll see you all tomorrow.